Okay, we have interest question, and when you're dealing with an interest question, the first thing you want to do is find out if it's compounded or if it's simple annual interest. And the difference between the two is very simple. Simple annual interest is all relative to the original principal, and compounded interest is relative to the new principal after the interest has already been added. What I mean by that is, let's say, for example, you have, um, for the example, $1,000 principal, $1,000 principal at an interest of 10% simple annual interest. So that would be $1,000 plus 1,000 times 10%, and let's say it was for 2 years, times 2. So it's all relative to the original principal. So what that is 1,000 times 10% of 1,000 is 100, times 2 is 200. So plus 1,000, that will give you $1,200 after 2 years. If we go to the compound area, compounded annual interest, some of the things that you want to make sure you watch out for is how is it compounded? Is it compounded annually, semi-annually, quarterly? Because if that's the case, whatever the total interest is, let's say if it was 12% annual compounded interest, compounded quarterly, then you know that you need to divide this by 4 for when you start to calculate, which means that you're going to get 3% every quarter. But in our example that we have here, all you want to do, very simply, is same example, compounded annually for 2 years. So $1,000 plus 1,000. The difference between simple and compounded is that you take the new principal and add the compound interest to it. So 1,000 times 0.1, and that's the first year. So that means that we'll have $1,100, right? Because we already did that. Now you take the new principal and add it to the interest that you're going to have at the end of the year. So you'll have 1,100 times 1,100 times 0.1, which is, so 1,100 plus 110 will give you 0, 1, 2, 1. So after 2 years of annual compounded interest, you're going to have $1,210 versus $1,200. So the difference that you have with compound versus simple is $10 here. But what you want to make sure that is some of the things to watch out for is when they ask, how is it compounded? Because if it was compounded quarterly, you would divide the annual interest by 4. If it was compounded semi-annually, you would divide the total interest by 6, and then you would use that number for each equation.